everyone, and welcome back to Rise and Shine Shabbat Time with me, Chloe, and Bertie. It's really nice to see you again. Thanks for joining. So this episode is part 2 of the Sabbath Lion book that we started reading last week. So should we start? Yeah, I think so. That's a good idea. The caravan trudged through the vast desert. Everywhere Yosef looked, he saw only sand. The days passed slowly, and the camels walked carefully across the burning sands, and the caravan would rest only when it almost got dark. Then Yosef would climb down from his camel and help the men set up tents for the night and gather brush for the campfire. And then at the sight of dawn, the caravan would once again be on its way. 6 long days passed, and finally it was Friday afternoon, almost the eve of the Sabbath. Yosef went to the leader of the caravan to remind him of their agreement. "What agreement?" the man asked, much to Yosef's dismay. "I don't know of any agreement." "Why, my mother sold her wedding ring and paid you to stop on the Sabbath. You promised," shouted Yosef, beginning to cry. The leader of the caravan stared boldly into Yosef's eyes. "We are going on," he said, "for there is still a bit of daylight left, and tomorrow we will ride all day. If you want to come with us, come. If not, stay here by yourself." Yosef looked up and saw that before long the sun would be setting, and he knew that he had to prepare for the Sabbath. "Well, are you coming?" asked the caravan leader, his voice nasty and impatient. Poor Yosef wanted to continue with the caravan where he would be safe, but no matter what the dangers were, even if he were to be lost in the desert forever, Yosef could never disobey the laws of Sabbath. And so his answer to the leader was firm. "No, I'm not coming. Go on without me. I must stay behind." And as the camels on the caravan left, he watched them disappear into the distance until he could see nothing but a cloud of dust. The sun was setting and the Sabbath was about to begin. Yosef knew that he must light the campfire quickly before the sun set, and that he must put enough brush on the fire to burn through the night. This he did, and then, as it grew dark, he sat down and sang his songs to the Sabbath Queen. "Come, O Sabbath Queen, and bring peace and blessings." There Yosef sat, surrounded by the desert, without even a tree for shelter, with only the fire to keep him and his animals away. He was afraid, so he closed his eyes and prayed with all his heart. But when he opened them, he saw something that made him tremble, for there in the distance was a huge lion, moving swiftly in his direction. As the lion came closer, Yosef froze in terror, certain that his life was about to end. But when the lion was so close that Yosef could almost touch it, the huge beast quietly lay down at his feet. Yosef was afraid that the lion would pounce on him, but when it turned its head, Yosef saw that his eyes were kind. Then he opened his pouch and took out the candles, the challah, and the wine. He lit the candles in the fire, and in a clear voice he recited all the blessings, and as he did so, he was filled with a feeling of peace, as if he were at home, celebrating the Sabbath with his mother and his brothers and sisters. Soon afterward he fell asleep. Yosef awoke at dawn, and there was the lion still watching over him. The hours of the day passed. Yosef sang Sabbath songs and recited Sabbath prayers. He felt as calm and as peaceful as he had the night before, and never once during all of that time did the lion move from where it lay. Yosef was glad that he was not alone, and he was thankful for the company of his Sabbath friend. At last the sun set, and Yosef took out his wooden spice box, the candle with many wicks, and a cup of wine, and he said the special prayers for the end of Sabbath. All this time the lion seemed to listen patiently, and then, when the prayers were over, the lion's kind eyes looked into Yosef's. It was then that the boy understood what had happened. The Sabbath Queen had sent the lion as a wonderful present to protect him. He stroked the lion's mane and put his arm around its neck. The lion brushed its tail against its back, which was the lion's way of telling Yosef that it wanted him to mount. And no sooner did Yosef do so than the lion raced off towards the desert. with the boy clinging to its mane, while the moon and stars lit their way. Soon they arrived at an oasis where there was a lush fig tree and a clear freshwater pool. After a long cool drink and a meal of figs, Yosef felt much better. He said a prayer of thanks, and he and the lion set off again. Early Sunday morning, Yosef saw a cloud of dust in the distance. It was the caravan. The lion had caught up with it only one night. Now when the travellers saw a great lion with someone riding on it, they were terrified. They quickly threw themselves down before Yosef, afraid that the lion would devour them all. The caravan leader watched in fear as the lion brought Yosef directly to him. In a shaky voice, he welcomed Yosef back and asked him to be the new leader. He also gave back every penny Yosef's mother had paid him, and never again did he break a promise as long as he lived. So it was that Yosef and the Sabbath lion led the caravan all the rest of the way to Cairo. There they rode through the narrow streets where people screamed and scattered this way and that, running from the huge beast coming towards them. Soon the lion with the boy still on its back arrived at the office where Yosef was to collect the money. From their hiding place, everyone watched in amazement as the lion stood guard and Yosef went inside. A short time later, clutching 2 bags of silver coins, he jumped out, back on the lion's back, and rode away. Yosef and the lion sped through the desert once more, and before long Yosef saw the walled city of Algiers, where his mother, brothers, and sisters awaited him. Suddenly the lion stopped. Yosef saw and knew that the lion had completed its task. Suddenly the lion stopped, and this time it had come to bid his friend goodbye. He petted the lion and hugged it hard. The lion nodded as it rubbed itself against Yosef. Then it ran off into the desert and disappeared. With one last look behind him, Yosef passed through the gates of the city and hurried down the streets of Algiers to his home. When Yosef's family saw that he was home unharmed, they said prayers of thanks. And now that he had completed his task, the family could buy food and clothing, and yes, even a silver spice box for the closing of the Sabbath. And every Sabbath after that, the children begged Yosef to tell his story, and he gladly did, for never did a Sabbath pass that he did not remember the Sabbath queen and the wonderful lion she had sent to him. And that's the end of our story. That was so lovely, wasn't it? Thanks for listening, everyone. Because we've been reading about a Sabbath lion, I thought it would be quite fun to make a lion. So all you need for this craft is some scissors, a toilet roll, some glue, and 1 piece of yellow card and 1 piece of orange card. So what we're going to do first is we're going to take our toilet roll tube and our yellow piece of paper, and what you are going to do is hold up your toilet roll against the card, and you're going to mark how far down the paper it comes. So give that a little measure. So I'm going to fold my piece of paper there and cut it. Okay, so now I've got 1 strip of yellow paper. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure how many times I can roll it round, and then I can measure where it comes up to. So I'm going to give it a little snip just there. And I'm going to put some glue on the end of my paper, actually all over my card really, because I want it to be nice and stuck down. Now I'm going to stick down my paper onto my roll, stick it on the bottom and then roll it up. So now you've got a yellow toilet paper. There we go. Okay, so now what I need to do is make some arms for a leg and a tail. So I'm going to take my yellow piece of card and I'm going to cut 3 strips from this piece of card. So I've got 3 strips of yellow card. 1, 2, 3. And now I'm going to take my orange card and I'm going to cut out 3 hearts. 1 heart, 2, and 3. And I'm going to stick the hearts to the end of the strips of yellow paper. Now what we need to make, so cut out a circle from your yellow paper. I'm going to draw some eyes, give it some freckles, and then I'm going to cut out a flower on my orange card. Okay, so now we have a flower shape. This is going to be the mane of the lion. Ta-da! So now we're going to stick the yellow head of the lion on. And then we're going to take our lion's head, put some glue on the back of that. And then we're going to stick some glue on the back of 2 of the yellow sticks. So they're going to be the legs. And then we're going to stick one on the front there. Let's take another one right next to it. And then we're going to slightly bend them so our lion can stand up. And then we're going to stick this one on the back. And there we go. There we have our standing lion, complete with tail. I think that's quite cute. There we go, and then we have our Sabbath lion. And that's it for today.